and welcome to another Cosmic Insight video with me, Bailey. This is Cosmos with Bailey. So this video is about the reawakening of the Divine Masculine in our cosmos and what that means for our cosmic evolution with the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine. And as we move into these new creation cycles, I prefer to call it a new creation cycle as opposed to a new age. Essentially, it's the same thing, but it makes sense to call it a new creation cycle because it's a new creation cycle, how we create with the cosmos and our consciousness. So, yes, the reawakening of the Divine Masculine in our cosmos. So the Divine Feminine has returned to our cosmos, and that was from a descent via Venus, and she had the higher templating of the Divine Feminine has been, I want to say, almost initiated into our cosmos. So that the higher expression of the Divine Feminine is now the leading energy here in our consciousness. So that changes everything on the earth. In one of my previous videos, I talked about the collapse of the old world masculine and feminine. And before we can have the arrival of the new consciousness energies here on the earth, we must first have a planetary collapse of old world masculine feminine energies that then make space in the cosmos to have the leading energies of the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine in place. And that is also how you get a consciousness divide, or when groupings start to split off, per se. So, yes. So because the Divine Feminine has already arrived in our cosmos, that changes the way that we view spirituality, and also it welcomes back the masculine into the heart of the cosmos. So from what I have been shown and been receiving is I have dreamt for quite a while now the collapse of the old world patriarch. So that is the old world unloving king energy. And here on the earth we haven't had that really loving, empowered, divine masculine energy. And a lot of us don't know what that looks like. So it's very, very confusing because we're trying to figure out what is divine masculine. And we have a lot of men trying to figure out what is masculinity or how is it expressed. It's really, really important to note that masculinity is very unique. And there is also many, many variants and expressions of masculinity right now on the earth that are coming from different levels of awareness. So just because someone resonates with something, it does not mean that you will. So with what happens with now that we have the Divine Feminine here is that her role is to initiate the Divine Masculine back into his energy. So what happened at the fall of consciousness was that we sort of lost the loving king energy. So we had a grouping of men in Atlantis, and I said this in a previous video, of the Atlantean kings. And they hold in their consciousness, it's almost like a templating, and there's a group of them. I almost want to say there's like leaders of these groups. There's many, many groups of these men incarnated right now, and they'll have one man that will trigger the consciousness, or they'll go and have an awakening, and it'll start working on the energetic grouping and start awakening other men. So it's like a domino effect in our cosmos and our consciousness, and it starts filtering down. And this is how you get the feeling of wanting to know your masculinity or wanting to upgrade your femininity. You're getting impulsed by what's going on in the cosmos. So so there's energetic groupings of these men. You'll have a main, almost like I want to say a figurehead that'll start the awakening. And they have to be initiated by the Divine Feminine to be awakened. And it's like that when we had the fall of consciousness in Atlantis, these men went to sleep. And they stayed on the earth and operated, like many of us, from that very dense level of masculine energy in the old world cycle. So as we move into a new cycle, we get an awakening or an opening of this divine masculine energy that we haven't had here in a really, really long time. And it is in direct correlation to I like to talk about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and that very, very divine masculine energy. He was very, very directed by the divine feminine. All those men that hold resonances with the King Arthur template energy or the Knights of the Round Table will most likely go through very, very vast awakenings in the next 3 years, where they sort of deny everything that they have created or known and go on a search to know themselves and who they are, like a very I almost feel the need to say, like, they're going to go on a quest. They're going to go on a quest to find out what the purpose is, like this divine quest. Yeah, so we've got forerunners of this awakening, and this begins a 3-year cycle of building this higher, more cosmic, divine masculine energy in our cosmos. It's not so much a focus on the divine feminine anymore. It is and it isn't. There's a lot of souls now beginning to want to move out of the old world feminine energy and feeling drawn to the divine feminine, but not quite sure where to begin. And now the role of the divine feminine, and the souls who hold the higher templating of the divine feminine, a lot of these women, their role now is to awaken the men. So, and you'll get this building of divine masculine energy in our cosmos, and as I said, it sort of filters down, and we all feel the effects of wanting to upgrade into higher expressions of masculine and feminine. It's sort of like the benevolent king that we haven't had, and it's the king that rules with a firm hand and is very, very loving, but also very, very discerning. And it's the king that makes the right choices. When I say king energy, I'm not talking about, there's a lot of stuff out there about king energy, but I feel it's not quite coming from the right place. It's actually an essence, the king energy that you embody. And you have to know that very deeply within yourself, and it's a type of awakening into that divine masculine energy within you, and what that means on an energetic level as you go through those initiations with the divine masculine energy and really, really start to level up who you are as a man. And so the divine masculine initiates men with the help of the divine feminine into that higher king energy. Yeah, I feel like that's all that needs to be said there. It's just a very, very quick video on, yeah, it's a very interesting time on the earth. So thank you for listening.